So 3 is a suction cup. I think, and this is about changes in volume. A suction cup is pretty deceiving, I think. Okay, it's really, really deceiving. Now, what we want to do here is that we want to sort of like try to draw a situation with the suction cup here. And so when I look at this thing here, we have what? Well, if you look at a suction cup, what we find here is that they can come in a lot of shapes. The simplest one is a rubber mat with a handle. And what I literally mean by this is that you get something like this here. Let's say that this is the surface. Okay, so here's our surface right here. And what you find here is that you come in and you literally have a mat like this. It's flat. And then what you have here is that you now have a handle that's attached to it, which then you can lift. So that means here is that you pull up. And when you pull up, what you're going to find here is that you get this scenario here. And the scenario here that you get is that it really makes a sort of like a cup thing, a cup shape. So you get a cup shape like this. And so when you're looking at this thing here, you're really finding that you're increasing the volume of this thing. So the area that we're really paying attention to is right in here. And what you're seeing here is that in this region right there, you have an increase in volume. So to give you an image of what I'm talking about here, I went online and I got a couple of images. So here's one of the images. It looks like this. So you can see how the rubber is nice and flat. And then they got this little hook, metal hook that they can do. And so what you do here is that you come in now and you do what? You lift up on it. So now what you're seeing here is that what are you finding right here? If you look at what happens. You could see right here how it's flat, but then what you're seeing right here is that there's an increase in volume. And that's the thing that we're really talking about. All suction cups work this way. There's no other way that happens here. And so what you're going to see here is that why does the suction cup work? How does the suction cup work? Okay, let me get my mouse set up. And so what we want to go in here is that we want to be careful with our language because the language is very slippery. So what happens here is that there is trapped air under the rubber mat. Not Matt the person, but just the mat. And so what you're thinking about here is that even though we may not be able to see this, when we actually put this thing flat, there's a little region of space. Okay, there's a little region of space that's not completely flat with the ground. And it's this yellow space right here. So what you find here is that right in here, there's a small volume of air. And so if I was to look in this yellow region where I have, right, so if I was to sort of like expand this region, right, so again, this is just this region here expanded. What you would find here is that you have gas molecules that are moving in numerous directions, just like the picture. And by them hitting the rubber mat, you then produce a pressure here. Now, here's the crazy thing about that. When you look at the pressure, here's what you find. So here I have atmospheric pressure, right? So this is P, atmospheric pressure. And the pressure inside of here, so the pressure inside is also atmospheric pressure. And that may seem hard to believe, but it really is. Now, how you change the system now, right? So what we're going to do here is that now we're going to change our system and we're going to increase volume. And so when you increase volume, again, what we're seeing here is that this guy now creates a bigger volume. And so what's surprising about this thing is that now I have all these air molecules. And again, this is our yellow region right here. And so what happens here is that I have the same number of molecules moving, but because I have a larger volume now, I create a low pressure. So inside, what you're finding here is that I now have a low pressure. Outside never changed. So outside always had P atmosphere. And now because of this change in situation, I have a high pressure going to a low pressure. So it does that. So here's the crazy thing. Suction cups stick to the walls / floors. Do I want to say floors? Yeah, let's just say walls. Nope, I think because in this case it's a floor or tabletop, whatever. Because atmospheric pressure pushes it to the floor. Atmospheric pressure is literally pushing it down onto the surface. But that's not what people say, right? People do not say this. What do they say? They say that suction cups suck, right? They say that it's sucked in by the vacuum. That's the remark that I hear. And all I'm saying is that that is wrong. That is a misconception. That is an absolute misconception. It's the atmosphere that pushes it to the ground. If you take the atmosphere away from the outside, you'll see that it won't stick at all.